So the California gas apocalypse is here. Well, at least Gavin Newsom thinks so because he wants to put a stop to it, as Valero has notified the state that they are going to shut down, similar to what Phillips 66 did in terms of their refinery. And the Green New scam is coming back to bite Gavin Newsom and the California Air Resource Board squarely in the ass. That's right, guys. Welcome on back to TK's Garage. And the disaster, the hits keep coming for the California Air Resource Board. Before, the Department of Justice now has a flashlight directly up their asshole. And now Gavin Newsom basically leaning back as he did months ago to maybe the California Air Resource Board went too far. Maybe I need to step in and make sure these refineries don't close. We talked about this before as they floated using emergency powers, but last I checked, you can't make a private business stay open because you want it to and you're the government. Unless the government takes it over. That's different, But I don't think the state can it'd be like nationalizing oil or whatever. Like the government, I believe the U.S. government could do that. I do not think the state of California has the authority to do that. And now we're starting to see the news stories come in as Chevron executives are talking about it. Other people are talking about it. And people on both sides of the aisle, Republicans are saying $12 plus gas. Democrats are saying $8.40, right? That's still insane. $8.40 when the national average is around $3. And right now, gas prices are about $4.40, $4.50 around different areas in California. Almost 50% more than anywhere else in the country, including here in Las Vegas, where we have the second highest gas that you're going to find on the mainland, where our gas prices here average close to $4 most of the way around the city, unless you want to go to like some of the food stamp gas stations like Arco and things of that nature, which I don't know what the quality of the gas you're going to get there, but yeah, they're cheaper, sometimes up to almost $1. So anyways, I want to get into this news report that was posted by Fox 11 in LA, because I think it does have some relevancy here from this Chevron executive, and it can explain what's coming. And here's why. Newsom knows he wants to run for president. What he doesn't need right now, right before he's going to run for president, is $10 gasoline as he's on his way out of the office. Oof.
Prices in LA County are holding near $4.50 a gallon. That, of course, is well above the $3.14 a gallon national average. And while prices have dipped slightly, experts warn they could spike again as two major California refineries prepare to shut down. And you may have seen recent headlines suggesting experts forecasting $8 a gallon. Right now, I'm joined by Andy Walls. He is Chevron's president for downstream, midstream, and chemical. That means he essentially is in charge of everything that happens to oil after it's been pulled out of the ground. Good to see you, Andy. Thanks so much for being with me tonight.
Yeah, Marla, thanks again. It's good to see you and looking forward to the conversation.
Okay, well, let's start the conversation by showing you some video that we found today. So we sent our helicopter, Skyfox, as we call it, around town just to get some images of pricing. And we come across this gas station. It says Chevron, not even trying to play gotcha here. This happens to be in Chinatown in the heart of L.A., and it's $7.89 a gallon, basically $8 a gallon. We've seen those headlines of late. This is already there. What's going on here?
Well, Marla, first off, these are independent business people. I certainly don't like seeing one of our retailers uncompetitive. That's not reflecting on our brand very well. Most of the Chevrons you'll see in the area will be at exactly the price you mentioned earlier. And this doesn't represent our brand very well, so apologize to that.
Okay, with that said, What is Chevron doing to lower prices?
Well, Marla, look, I think we've got to go back and talk a little bit about what's gone on over the last, call it 10 or 15, 20 years. I think what's happened in California is that policymakers have put politics in front of good energy policy. And we find ourselves in a situation where we have less supply today than we have demand in the state of California. And this is what's putting a tremendous amount of pressure on the price. It's going to potentially put pressure on reliable supply because the supply for the excess demand is going to have to come from somewhere overseas. And it's putting tremendous pressure, all the policy put tremendous pressure on refiners in the state. And that's your headline around a couple of refineries closing. Hey, that's real. That means less supply in the market. And I think it's a thing that Californians need to be focused on and concerned about.
So those two refineries, it's a Phillips 66 in Wilmington. That's set to close by the end of this year. And then one up in the Bay Area, Valero in the East Bay, set to close by the end of 2026. That accounts, so there's the Phillips 76 nearby in Wilmington. These account for about 20% of our supply. So this will go up. This will theoretically increase the price, to your point about supply and demand. Chevron has moved its headquarters from San Ramon to Texas, where you join us live tonight. Are there plans to close the Chevron refinery in El Segundo?
Yeah, look, Marla, we don't have plans to close. We've been in California for over 140 years. We are proud of what we've done in California, but I think it's becoming quite acute. If we will have decisions that we will have to make going forward, and I am urging the regulators and state politicians to really think carefully about how they try to maintain reliable suppliers like Chevron. We are at a bit of a tipping point. You mentioned 20% more capacity comes offline. I'm not going to predict the future on pricing, but I can assure you with lower supply and still robust demand, I think California's playing a very dangerous game with refineries.
You just mentioned California legislators, our Democratic lawmakers. We know we have a Democratic supermajority in the state. Is Chevron, are you actively in touch with lawmakers to try and have this conversation?
Yeah, we are. I mean, look, secure and reliable energy doesn't have a political affiliation. Democrats, Republicans, and voters in California want lower prices, and they want to have a surety of long-term reliable supply. We are talking to the regulator. We are talking to the Energy Commission. We do hear a little bit more conversations coming out of Sacramento about this, that they're prioritizing it. But, talk, Marla, it doesn't do a lot. We need real action. We need real changes in the way things are done in the state of California for it to make a difference. And for Chevron to be interested in putting more money in and investing in the future of El Segundo and our Richmond refinery.
Well, we're out of time. What's your message to California voters?
Yeah, look, I'm glad you took some time with us. This is an important issue. I'm glad you're asking. Reliable and affordable energy is something we take for granted. And I think it needs to have policies that support that so that companies like Chevron can keep investing and stay in a place like California.
All right, Andy Walls, executive with Chevron. Thanks for taking the time out and coming on tonight.
So as you hear there, I mean, look, a 20% reduction in capacity, right, or supply is a massive hit. And if you're already hovering around $5, when you factor that in, does it immediately go to 8? No, it goes to something more around $7, right? $6.80, closer to $7. But when the prices are starting to go up, it's going to cause a rush at the pumps. We're going to see insane supply constraints. And some of these companies overseas that are going to ship in gasoline from them, if they're going to get it through a port, are going to hold them over a barrel. And, we've seen some of the stuff with regulations in California where they're trying to get a standardized, like West Coast fuel so that they could get gasoline now from Texas or Oklahoma. And that's something like in my state, in Nevada, I wish Joe Lombardo would have done a while ago. They've done it in some places where there's new like QTs, other gas stations and stuff that's opened here in Nevada that are significantly cheaper than other gas stations here. And it's because they don't get their gas from California. It's being trucked in. So it'll be interesting to see how Newsom is going to address this, or how he's going to, offer Valero. Phillips 66 is supposed to close before the end of the year, but they're going to have to offer Valero like a big bag of money and a bunch of waivers on regulations for them to want to stay open in the state of California. Nobody wants to do business when you're a refinery, when you're losing money to make gasoline in the area because of these insane regulations, and then having people constantly with a flashlight up their arms on a regular basis. Nobody wants that. And unfortunately, I think this is coming at a perfect time for Newsom, because he's about to come to the end of his gubernatorial career. He's about to be done as governor of California, and he wants to run for president. But it's not going to look really good on you to run for president when you left your state as governor, but you could instantly have gas prices around the time you leaving office of $8, $9, or $10 or even more per gallon. Let me know what you guys think about the conversation in the comment section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Our Ram 1500 giveaway is still going on. If that's something that you guys want to tap into, you can do that by picking up any of the merch down here below the video, or you can go to tksgarage.com directly to pick something up. First place gets to pick between the Cadillac STS and the Ram. Second place gets whatever's left. Very simple to get in. Between now and the end of July, or August 1st at midnight, we have 30x entries. So every $1 equals 30 entries. After August 1st, everything goes to $1 equals 1 entry. So if you're interested in getting into it, now is the time to try to win that truck. But anyways, major shout outs as well to our people over at Top of Don for making that possible with the Ram 1500. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. I truly appreciate it. And as always, stay petty, my friends.